Hello everyone. I know I've missed a few Saturday editions, but I promise I'll make up for it because I have some very interesting videos to share with you in times to come. Let's get started with the topic for today. With us heading towards the end of the migration year 22-23, a lot of clients are feeling uncertain about the status of nomination that they're waiting for. Because they know that the states have consumed a large part of the nomination allocations given out to them, they are a little uncertain as to what exactly is the current status, so as to certain whether they should have any realistic expectations in terms of getting a nomination in the year 2023, or should they be only expecting nominations after 1st of July 2023 this year. Let's get started. So the first state I'm going to talk about is the state of Canberra. You can see that in all the slides, of course this one and the subsequent slides, I have mentioned the total number of nominations allocated to that particular state. And out of those total allocations, how many nominations were allocated for a 190 nomination? How many were allocated for a 491 nomination? Then I've also put down statistics regarding the quota that has been consumed for a 190 nomination and for 491 nominations till 31st of March. So the data that you can see on your screen relates to the figures that were available with the Department of Home Affairs on 31st of March. And what remains to be consumed, what that technically means is that I have put in front of you the nominations that are still available with each state to give out for 491 and 190, and these nominations were to be given out in the month of April, which of course we're almost done with, May and June, so we just have another 2 months to go. So as you can see the ACT screen, and you can see what is the number of nominations available. Let's get down to NSW. Now I want to particularly talk about this state because there's something very interesting about it here. As you can see that the total number of nominations given out to the state for a 190 visa were 9,108, and for 491 they were given 6,168 places, out of which so far in about, let's say 9 months, they have consumed about 8,078 nominations for 190 already, and for subclass 491 they have so far consumed only 2,054 places. What that means is that in these 3 months, that is April, May and June, the state of NSW still has a whopping places of 4,114 nominations to be still given out. Now let me tell you, that's a huge number. So what that technically means is that NSW currently in these 3 months is sitting on almost 2/3 of its nominations, which they intend to give out in this time. What that essentially means is that applicants whose occupations are available in NSW, and let me tell you, NSW occupation list is really vast. So those whose occupations are listed on NSW occupation list, you know the criteria is very, very basic. 65 points, no additional experience, expands in each section. They can directly put up an application for a nomination, and given the kind of criteria, the nomination quota they still have, you can be very optimistic that NSW is very likely to grant you a nomination. So now I want you to look into your screens for Northern Territory. Again, Northern Territory didn't get much quota, about 600 for 190, but interestingly what they got for 491 was more than double of what they got for 600, so for the 190. and they still have quite a bit of quota left, that is 824 places still to go. Queensland, on the other hand, got 3,000 places for 190 and 2,000 places for 491. Now they do still have quite a bit of quota remaining, around 1,412 places for 190 and around 956 places for 491. So Queensland is another state you could be looking at. South Australia has been a favorite destination for migrants, and they've been usually getting a lot of nominations from South Australia. But this time, despite South Australia having been given 3,000 places for 190 and 5,800 places for 491, a lot of applicants feel that they did expect a nomination from South Australia, but they didn't get it. Though I like to mention here that they've had conducted very, very large invitation rounds, and we have got up to 34 invitations to apply for nomination in one single day. However, some occupations have not been touched by South Australia so far, and I'm largely talking about the private tutors here. So given the fact that South Australia still has around 1,075 places, nominations still to go, those who have not received a nomination from South Australia can still expect SA to give them an invitation for a nomination in the 2 months. I mean, a quota of 1,075, 495 nominations in just 2 to 3 months to be given out is actually quite huge. Now let's take a look at Tasmania. 2,150 nominations for 190, 2,100 nominations for 491. They're left with around 700 plus for both. State of Victoria. I don't know why the DHA has been so generous with Victoria. Look at the numbers. A number of 12,900, like almost 13,000 places for 190 nominations and 2,000 for 491 clearly shows that Victoria has been given the power to select applicants from the pool of skilled migrants whose expressions of interests have been lodged, of course, for 190 nominations. And probably this is the reason why a lot of people have lodged their registration of interest with Victoria for 190, provided of course they meet the 65 points, because with 190 you tend to lose 10 points for the nomination, which you gain of course in 491. So in fact my advice would be that given the fact that they have very little quota left for 491 and they still have 2,343 nominations that are yet to be given out in these 2 to 3 months, it is advisable that applicants who had lodged an ROI for Victoria. Now, as you're aware that for Victoria, you cannot lodge 2 ROIs. You can only lodge 1 ROI either for 491 or for 190. You can't indicate both. So those who have lodged an ROI for Victoria for 491, and if they are scoring 65 points on the point factor, on the point system for a 190 visa, might want to consider in registering an interest for 190 instead. Western Australia, of course, we've seen they've got quite a bit of quota. 190 quota around 5,000 plus and around 2,700 something for 491, but somehow offshore applicants have not been really able to benefit much from it because they need a job letter. So that is it for now. I hope you to look into these statistics very carefully and take a wise decision when it comes to lodging your EOIs and indicating your preferred states. So until next time, bye bye and take care.